We're hurting ourselves or we're healing ourselves. It's your choice. The topic on today's show is vitamin C. Let's get started. Okay, we're starting off today with an amazing story from 60 Minutes about the miracles of vitamin C.
While Auckland Hospital refused to take part in this story, 60 Minutes has obtained Alan Smith's medical files and records of that Monday meeting.
This morning we, the CVICU consultants, met and discussed with the ECMO specialist from America, Mr. Smith's situation. The group is in unanimous agreement that Mr. Smith should be removed from ECMO and be allowed to die. Continuing is only prolonging his inevitable death.
My brother just stepped in and he said, no, you haven't tried everything. You've got to try vitamin C intravenously, high doses. And they just said no.
The family pleaded with doctors that Alan be administered high-dose vitamin C, a treatment right outside of mainstream medicine. So what was the doctor's reaction?
Oh, they said no because there's no proof of it doing anything or doing anyone any good. Or my mind was just spinning because they wanted to turn him off, and I'm thinking, well, I hope we can get through this. And with that, Paul and Shane walked in.
That's your sons?
Yes, two of our boys. They walked in and then, they really stood their grounds.
I said to him, mate, I said, if you lie on that bed for as long as he had without vitamin C, you will die too, just like he's going to.
They pulled and showed me and told me, they sound like giving up, just like when you got a dead cow down. I said, well,
They'd given up.
Well, I said to them, just force this vitamin C in them so it actually happens. And
it'd be fair to say the Smith boys, Paul, Josh and Shane, weren't backwards in coming forward.
I says, what have you got to lose, mate? You give me one good reason what you guys have got to lose by trying it. I says, because it's not fair that we, all of us, should go on living our lives with the thought in the back of our minds, if only we'd pushed and tried harder, would it have saved them?
They were all about to find out if they'd pushed hard enough. The next day, Tuesday, Auckland Hospital arranged another family meeting.
All of intensive care unit medical staff have met again. We are all in agreement that vitamin C will be of no benefit. We all agree Mr. Smith will not survive. However, one member feels slightly uneasy that we should wait a little longer before taking Mr. Smith off ECMO. It's therefore reasonable to wait until Friday. If Mr. Smith has shown no improvement by then, he will be taken off ECMO. In the meantime, given the family's strong beliefs about vitamin C, we are willing to give this over the next 2 days.
So, Tuesday night, he got his first dose of 25 grams through the IV, and Wednesday morning he got another 25 grams. The Wednesday afternoon they did a CT scan on his chest, and that's when they found the air pockets in his lungs, whereas the x-rays had showed just complete white.
So, Alan's x-rays. Before high-dose intravenous vitamin C, so full of infected fluid, the lungs can't be seen. This x-ray taken after 2 days of high-dose vitamin C treatment. The lungs dramatically improved and readily visible. By D-Day, the Friday when Alan Smith was destined to die, when the ECMO life support was to be withdrawn, turned out to be the day Alan Smith was destined to, well, maybe, survive.
Mr. Smith is stable but still critical. He has improved over the last couple of days. Turning Mr. Smith prone has probably made the biggest difference. His chest x-ray is better.
They didn't agree or believe that the vitamin C turned him around, because
What did they think turned him around?
coincidentally, the same time as he started getting his vitamin C, they proned him, which was turning him over onto his stomach. So that's their argument on that's why he got better. So
Assume it will be, won't we?
my question to that is, why didn't you try that before even suggesting to turn the machine off?
So less than a week after the high-dose vitamin C was started, Alan had improved to the point that he could be taken off ECMO life support.
Sunday, 26th July. Got taken off ECMO this morning today, hooray. Seems funny seeing him breathing again. He is taking a few of his breaths on his own.
Then, just as the family felt they could breathe a bit easy themselves, Alan's health started to dive. They would find the vitamin C had been stopped.
This time, a different consultant was there, and he was just so adamant against it. He sat back in his chair, rolled his eyes and crossed his arms and looked at the ceiling and said, "No, not putting him back on it. No, no."
Did he make you feel like a bit of an idiot?
He did, and it's the first time everyone had hit someone.
I got quite serious with that doctor.
How serious?
The meeting was stopped, put it that way.
3 days later, the vitamin C was restarted, but only very low doses of 1 gram twice a day.
So we got them all in one mob, not two mobs?
Now, while these King Country brothers certainly don't claim to be medical experts, they say the mucking about with the vitamin C was reflected by the changes in their father's health, and they say you'd have to be a bit thick not to see what was going on.
So he was on 100 grams per day, improving rapidly, very rapidly. And then he went downhill rapidly when they stopped it, cold turkey. When he got put back on vitamin C after that heated meeting, it was at a very low dose. And once again he started recovering, but it was a slow recovery. They expected to have him transferred to Waikato in less than a week. It took a lot longer.
By early August, still critical and still in an induced coma, but by now breathing on a ventilator, Alan was airlifted closer to home, to intensive care at Waikato Hospital, who, like Auckland Hospital, wouldn't be interviewed. It was here the Smith family found they had another scrap on their hands.
A doctor comes on and stops it. And
Stops the vitamin C?
stops the vitamin C.
And says what?
And I said, why? And he said, well, this stuff has come down with him and we don't know what it is. So here we go again, another fight.
This time they brought in the heavyweights. Wellington public law specialist May Chen warned Waikato Hospital.
The decision to discontinue the high-dose intravenous vitamin C treatment without consulting with Alan's family is in breach of Right 7 of the Health and Disability Commissioner's Code of...
There was even a threat, wasn't there, that you would go to the High Court?
Yes, we would. Well, this is someone's life we're dealing with, not just anything, Once he's dead, he's dead. You can't get him back. And we weren't going to let that happen.
So they agreed to give him a couple of grams of vitamin C a day.
Yeah.
And you wanted him to be on like 50 grams a day.
That's right. Yeah.
So they kind of said, yes, we'll do it, but didn't really do it anyway.
No, that's right.
Slowly recovered, and it wasn't until we got some oral lipospheric vitamin C into him, and that's when he once again recovered really fast.
After a total of 9 weeks in a coma, Alan eventually was woken, which is when Sonia began administering vitamin C to Alan herself, using a special high-dose oral form known as lipospheric. The next step was meant to be months of rehabilitation.
I was taking 6 grams of that a day, of the lipospheric, and of course when I had to go to rehab again to learn to walk, I was told I'd be there for 3 months. Well, in 3 months, I did not like the sound of that. But I walked out of that hospital in one day, under 14 days. And even the doctors were absolutely disbelieved that I could come right so quick.
Alan was back on the farm recuperating when his neighbour John came down the road calling out to him.
Says to me, "Hey, Smitty, you owe me $15. I said, "What do I owe you $15 for, John?" He said, "I went and got me suit dry cleaned for your funeral, and you bugger, you've come back."
Get him behind.
Alan Smith's comeback is being talked about around the world, described as little short of miraculous. Alan himself says he's living proof the establishment should be taking high-dose vitamin C seriously, and sooner rather than later.
And here's another quick story on high-dose vitamin C.
It's a massive dose of vitamin C, the equivalent, they say, of 500 oranges going directly into the bloodstream.
Some patients have been receiving chemotherapy for several years, 4 or more, and not able to influence tumor reduction or to be able to get their cancer markers to be reduced. We see that our patients not only look better and feel better through their chemotherapy, but we're actually moving their markers and we are seeing tumor reduction.
IV nurse Michael Ann McAllister has been treating patients with vitamin C for over 10 years. She's also a patient herself with malignant melanoma and has witnessed some dramatic results in her patients' conditions and in her own health.
They're enjoying clean PET scans. They're enjoying tumor reduction. They're enjoying good skin, hair, and nails. They're enjoying their wounds are healing and that their appetite is back and their zest and zing for life has returned. This is a very empowering treatment.
Cardiac patients are treating themselves with this powerful antioxidant, and other patients are utilizing it as a preventive measure to outlive their family's medical history.
I have a little bit of the cancer in my family, but what I'm looking forward to doing is looking at it as preventive medicine.
This high-dose infusion is also providing a fountain of youth effect for these patients.
It's amazing. Everyone I look at, and I see a change in them every day. And me, I always have energy, and everybody knows that, but I'll go to the gym, and they're like, "There's something different about you. You look so much healthier." And they've only been saying it since I was on the vitamin C for a couple weeks.
And now, a peek behind the curtain. On his television show, Dr. Oz advises the public to get their loved ones vaccinated. But there's one thing you must remember when watching the show. Dr. Oz is contractually bound to act in accordance to standards set by those he works for. But in this clip, he gives us a peek behind the curtain and a little truth at the same time.
If that helps at all, but I'll tell you, my wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
I like Mr. Oz much better. You're hurting yourself or healing yourself. It's your choice. Thanks for watching. See you next time.